Namo Sakyamuni. Hello everyone, Quantity here. Sorry about my extremely late videos, but I am back in action, and today I will be covering the first four of the Eightfold Path, and then in a couple days I'll upload the second half of the last four of the Eightfold Path. So, if you've been keeping up with my videos, we know that we already covered the Four Noble Truths, and the fourth Noble Truth basically is the path to ending our suffering, and that path is the Eightfold Path. So, the Noble Eightfold Path, described by the Buddha, is the path that leads to the end of suffering. It is a practical guideline for ethical and mental development with the goal of freeing ourselves from the three poisons, which, as we know, is ignorance, greed, and anger. And the Eightfold Path is not a step-by-step practice. It's a practice that's done holistically. So to have right view or right perception of something, we must also have right intention, right thinking, right speech, and right action in order to have right livelihood, right effort, right concentration, and right mindfulness. The Eightfold Path is grouped in three groups, which lead us to enlightenment, which is morality, wisdom, and concentration, or sila, prajna, and samadhi. And within wisdom, prajna, we have right view and right intention. And within morality, sila, we have right speech, right action, right livelihood. And then within concentration, samadhi, we have right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So the first of the eight of the Eightfold Path is the right view. And right view is the deep understanding we see things as they really are, to deeply understand the Four Noble Truths. So right view is first because we need right view to see and understand everything before we think it, speak it, do it, and live by it. It is to understand how our reality, how our life, nature, and the world as they really are, to see those things as impermanent and imperfect. So it begins with the intuitive insight that all things and all beings are subject to suffering, and it ends with complete understanding of the true nature of all things. So right view is also the ability to distinguish wholesome roots from unwholesome roots or seeds within our within our consciousness. If we are honest people, it's because the wholesome roots or the wholesome seeds of honesty in us is in us. So if we live within an environment where our seeds are watered, then we will become honest people. But if our seeds of dishonesty is watered, then we may start deceiving those that we love and care about. So we might feel bad or guilty about it, but if the seed of dishonesty is strong, then we may do it anyway. So practicing mindfulness really helps us identify all the seeds in our consciousness and what are the ones that we want that are wholesome, and kind of ignore the unwholesome seeds within us. The second of the Eightfold Path is right intention, and right intention refers to the volitional aspect, the mental energy to control our actions. This is the commitment to ethical mental self-improvement, ridding ourselves of whatever qualities we know to be wrong and immoral. If we train ourselves in right intention, our right view will improve, because thinking often leads to action. So right intention is needed to take us down the path of right action. And right intention reflects the way things really are. But the practice of right intention, right thinking is not easy. Our mind and body are often not unified. When we're driving, we might be singing a song or cursing out other drivers or trying to, maneuver through traffic. And that causes us to forget that we're driving. So conscious breathing is an important practice. When we concentrate and become mindful of our breathing or whatever action we're doing, we bring our mind and body back together and become unified again. And there are three types of right intention. And the first one is the intention of renunciation, which means the resistance to the pull of desire. And the second is the intention of goodwill, meaning resistance to feelings of anger and aversion. The third is the intention of harmlessness, meaning not to think or act in a cruel way or violently or aggressively, and to develop and act with compassion. The third of the Eightfold Path is right speech. And right speech is kind of, I want to say the easiest one to kind of know, but it's kind of the most direct. And we can basically break it down in about 4 bullet points. And the first one is to abstain from false speech, especially to not tell deliberate lies and not to speak deceitfully. The second is to abstain from speaking with a forked tongue, saying one thing to one person and then saying something else to another person. The third is to abstain from harsh and slanderous speech. And the fourth is to abstain from exaggerating or embellishing speech, to not dramatize unnecessarily or make things sound better or worse or more extreme than they really are. And our fourth of the Eightfold Path is right action. Right action refers to doing wholesome, compassionate deeds. Right action also refers to the 5 precepts, and those precepts, of course, is to abstain from taking life, to abstain from taking what is not given, stealing, to abstain from sexual misconduct, to abstain from lying, and to abstain from consuming intoxicants. So that's the first 4 of the Eightfold Path. Really, the Eightfold Path is not this kind of rules. It's not a list of things we have to do in a certain way. It is just, like I said, it's a practical guide. It is just common sense of things that we should and shouldn't do, because when we don't see things clearly, or when we think we're doing things correctly, but it's really not, it causes more pain, it causes more suffering. And so the Eightfold Path is really a guide to show us the things we might be doing wrong that we think is right, and allows us to kind of look back and decide for ourselves, oh, I might not be doing something right, or I might be doing this deed or this task correctly, and I should change it so I'm not, suffering or in pain emotionally, physically. So the Eightfold Path is really is a guide that just reminds us to stay aware, to stay mindful, to live our lives in a way that is moral, that is, in good consciousness and good intention, and to bring us that aspiration to really kind of live by these paths, because they're paths for a reason. They're called a path because it is the guiding path to show you, to lead you to the end of suffering. And that path leads to liberation. It is said that we can find enlightenment just from the Eightfold Path. To diligently and to really cultivate the Eightfold Path and live by it, we can escape suffering. We can be liberated from just the practice of the Eightfold Path. So it's really that important. If there's one thing, if we're Buddhist or not Buddhist, if there's one teaching that you really need to grasp and really need to understand and live by, it would be the Eightfold Path, because it is literally, it's basically the foundation to every other teaching, to every other practice, because everything else falls on the Eightfold Path. Everything stems from the Eightfold Path. So if there's something that we really want to spend time on, to practice, and to really cultivate and understand and master, it would be the Eightfold Path. So that is the first 4 of the Eightfold Path for today. My next video will cover the last 4 of the Eightfold Path. So look for that and study the Eightfold Path. I know I gave a very brief introduction to the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is actually extremely, it's profound. It's more than what I just said, but I kind of had to give you the Cliff Notes version of it, because as I mentioned in my other videos, and as I mentioned on my blog and anywhere else, it's not really my job to teach you the full teaching of something. I just want to give you the Cliff Notes version of it, the simplified version of it, and then have you go and do your own search for it, your own seeking, because I want you to come to your own truth, to your own understanding, and not kind of hand it to you, because that's not really how things work. So do spend some time on the Eightfold Path, and it's a very strong, very important teaching. and it really needs to be mastered. I think if there's one teaching that we need to master and really understand before we move on to anything else in Buddhism, it would be the Eightfold Path, because it's such a foundation to anything else. So spend time in that. Look forward to my next video, and I look forward to giving it to you. Smile and be well. Thank you. But it's really important to kind of figure out what are the core causes that kind of make us suffer in life. What causes us so much